and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Usaiwa Mesale, and today I'm joined by Elsie Godwin and Isi Ofodile. Isi Vakome. Ofodile, how are you, Isi?
I'm very well, thank you.
How was your weekend?
Short, but it was good.
Short?
Yes, it was short because I wished it was longer.
Did you vote?
Oh no, I wasn't even aware that there was a voters what's it called, election going on. Actually, I got to know when they said that we should all stay indoors. So the lack of awareness is another thing, based on, you know, they didn't say anything about it.
Okay.
Or were you aware?
Of course I was.
Oh, I wasn't aware until they said we should stay home.
Hi,
were you aware, Elsie?
How are you?
I am good.
So did you vote?
No, I did not vote.
But you were aware?
I became aware late. Not as early as I think I should have. I think I found out like a week or 2 weeks too. So I don't think that was early enough for me. But yeah, but I did not vote because I'm still battling INEC and moving my
card.
My card, you know. So we're still in the process. I wouldn't say they've done anything wrong yet. We're still in the process. So yeah, hopefully I would partake in the next one.
But have you registered online?
I mean, I did the registration before now, and I suspect that my card is ready. I suspect, I'm not sure. So I have to actually go to their
and
office
check first if it's
check.
ready.
I've done the updating on the online anyway. I've done the updating and I've done all I need to do. So I just need to find time to go all the way.
Absolutely. So we're talking elections today. I mean, over the weekend, me, I didn't vote. I actually was even out of town. I had to even leave very early. I left Lagos quite early, like 5:30, so that I beat the curfew time, you know, to travel and all of that. So I didn't vote, and it's so sad that, you know, I saw Aneta's post on PlusTV Instagram page how people were collecting 100 naira. It's really saddening.
100 naira.
I mean 1,000 naira. Sorry for their votes. You know.
I saw a video of a woman who was actually multi-farming for on the voters whatever. So I think it's another thing we should also talk about based on what we're talking about.
So we're talking
today.
elections today. So hopefully we'll be able to delve into all of those. You know, I mean, and here's what we found. As today's quote. People often say that in a democracy, decisions are made by a majority of the people. Of course, that's not true. Decisions are made by a majority of those who make themselves heard and who vote. That's just, I mean, it's a very direct and clear, what's it called? Clear quote.
In other words, decisions are not made by us on this table.
No, we are just making noise until you go out and you vote. And it's so sad that I know that when it comes to presidential and governorship, we turn out, and the only reason we turn out for the senatorials is because the what's it called, the time in between those elections are quite short. So you are already in the mood of voting, and besides, when you go to vote for National Assembly, House of Rep and Senate and all of that, it is
the same party.
If you did a particular party in presidential and governorship, there's every likelihood that you just go all the way down
without even knowing the names of the people you're voting for.
Your representative.
Yes. Even at the turnout, there's still voters apathy in governorship and presidential. So just imagine we need to find another name for what happened yesterday.
Not as bad as
yesterday's was not apathy. That was complete murder.
Not as bad as local.
That's election murder.
We need to find another name for it.
All right, so Saturday was the local government elections, and Yemi Amusan is here to talk to us on voter apathy and good governance, and that's what we're talking about. But first, we'll take a break to see what we found in the news.
businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on PlusTvAfrica.
Welcome to The Breakfast.
A breakfast where we unbundle top and big stories of the day.
Is vaccine the only way out of this pandemic?
No, definitely not.
Many Ghanaians just want a peaceful election and they are hoping there will be no rigging.
There is nothing bad in borrowing for infrastructure. The minister added that he was impressed.
Please come and see yourself what we are doing with the money we are borrowing.
It's very important. The way we brand ourselves is the way people will carry us.
It's just the driver of the two vehicles that were completely done.
This one was here screaming.
What do you recommend the government do to support this sector?
Direct intervention, that's what every government all over the world has done.
We are not a parallel security structure. A Moteco core is a complementary core.
What I will not encourage Christians to do is to carry dagger and follow anybody. No.
Join us on The Breakfast, 7 a.m., Monday to Friday.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
Now 500 naira they collect them.
If you don't talk, they will beat you.
Now 2,500 they pay.
You're still watching Ways. Now, only an aunt can give hugs like a mother, keep secrets like a sister, and share love like a friend. The amount of aunts and uncles you have will vary from family to family. However, they often play a crucial role throughout your life, taking you to fun places, babysitting you when your parents are out, buying you birthday and Christmas presents, and giving you important advice and support when you need it. After all, there are some things we just don't feel comfortable talking to our parents about. So if you love your aunt and uncles, why not call them, spend the day with them, or send them a card or a gift. So one way, or one of the ways to celebrate Aunt and Uncle's Day is to purchase a small gift. And you don't need to spend so much, you don't need to spend a lot. Just simply choose something that is really thoughtful and show your aunt and your uncle how much they mean to you. So I am actually in love with this day. Why? Because I don't think I'm a fantastic aunt to my sister's children, but they are amazing aunts to my children. I know, especially my younger one. Okay, my older sister is the one that bakes them banana bread, brownies, you know. But my younger sister is the one that they will always sit down, talk to, you know, all of that. So things that they don't tell me, they're able to tell her. So it just saves me stress.
For me, I have,
you know, so they have their secrets that I don't know about, but it's fine.
For me, I have a large family of aunties because my mom had 7 sisters, and with that it rippled down, and of course uncles and aunties, uncles that got married, their wives are our aunties. So I have a large family, you know, we're about 40-something grandchildren. Now imagine 40-something grandchildren being aunties to all the children. So it's an amazing experience for us. So I think I would say, I would actually want to, you know, give them a shout out today and say we love you and we appreciate you. So much love. Love from me to them. They know I got love for them. I've already been giving them gifts for like years.
So, quickly,
so it's not just about today.
We lost time.
Okay, my news today is on Nnamdi Kanu, and it's DSS fails to produce Nnamdi Kanu in court, and judge adjourns the trial till October. Now, this has caused a lot of mayhem in Onitsha as well, because DSS has said that they have refused, they couldn't produce Nnamdi Kanu, and the lawyer is also, you know, causing a lot of uproar as well, saying that they have refused to allow him to see the IPOB leader for the past 8 days. Now, the reason why DSS refused to, you know, produce him was the fact that they said that, and this is, I don't want to be judgmental, but they said that for logistics reasons, that's the reasons why they can actually, you know, produce him. And I was wondering, why is that?
I don't know. I mean, the judge is also on, I think she's going on vacation or something, so that's part of the reason it's being moved to October as well. And the DSS has not explicitly come out to say this is the reason, because the newsmen around said that they were prepared for it in terms of the roads being secured, the lineup the way it was supposed to be. So everybody expected that he would be there, and then suddenly he didn't show up. And the lawyer is saying he's suspecting that they've taken him out of Abuja. So, I mean, he suspects, they say he said, whatever it is. But
there's a lot of hearsays.
Let's see what happens in October if they produce him or not. Yeah.
And do you think he'll get a fair trial in Nigeria? That's another question for...
No. When it comes to Nnamdi Kanu and Nigeria, they understand themselves better.
What did you find for us, Elsie?
So INEC records 1 million PVC registrants in 4 weeks. Record that the exercise started on the 28th of June. That's on a Monday, and today makes it 1 month. And so far, it has recorded over 1 million registrants. And also, INEC revealed that the people between the ages of 18 and 34 account for 73.5% of total figures, and that makes me happy, because it means that the people are not just talking on Twitter, they are taking action. So, I mean, there's still a lot more time. 1 million, we can do better, but I'm glad that we have more younger people being interested in having these sort of conversations and also getting their PVCs as well. So the future looks good, I guess.
Okay, so I have actually 2 quick stories to just, first of all is the update on Baba Ijesha. I think there was a court hearing today. Actors like Yabo, Joe, Princess, all of that, they resumed at the court, and first of all, they admitted the CCTV footage as evidence in the court. That has been admitted in the court. And of course, Princess also explained how she met Baba Ijesha, saying to the court that he tried in 2008 to date her. That's how they became close and all of that. So the case has been adjourned till 27th of July. So we're waiting to see what the update is. We're just trying to keep an update on that story. So the other interesting story that caught my eye, very scary story. You know, I saw a video going around social media of somebody going into the supermarket and setting it ablaze
in Abuja.
In Abuja, only for me to find out that the girl is just 9 years old. I mean, it just came out a few minutes ago on social media that she's just 9 years old.
Exactly.
You know, I was wondering what exactly is going on. You know, because if you look at the fire, the person was very specific. Went to the area where the gas cylinders were located, and so it was just okay. You know what? I light the fire. Then she stood at a corner watching to be sure that it had caught the fire had really happened before she eventually walked away, and that fire, because it's a gas station, you can't really say you want to go but you don't know what will happen.
Exactly, there are explosions.
Yes, it's not a good thing when it comes to fire.
Yes.
You know, you can quench petrol, but gas, it can spread very quickly.
In seconds, actually.
Now, they said the Ebano supermarket in Abuja, the goods that have been burnt down is worth 5 billion naira. And the sad thing is that this girl, she is a minor. She's a juvenile, so there's really, you can't even detain her.
She's not even a juvenile, she's totally a minor.
She's a minor.
She's a child.
You can't even detain her, you can't do anything with the girl. So they're asking the girl, who sent you? you know, was it maybe it's your mother, because I saw there's another video that's going around where they were interrogating the girl, and the girl is saying that no, it's not her mother, that they had gone to the market before, they had gone to buy some things in the market, and she wanted to buy some things for her sister in the supermarket, and she left them at the drinks session and quickly came to do this.
Oh, really?
How does this even add up? So please, I don't know how they're going to do it, but we have to find the root cause of this. It's really sad.
So
9 years old.
There's a root cause.
They have to find it too. I don't know.
It can't be an arsonist with her age. She's so young.
This is criminal mind.
I don't even know what to
She's
say.
young.
I don't know. I in my head, I'm just wondering what kind of activities she indulges in the house.
Exactly.
And
who is she exposed to?
I don't know. It's really weird. It's so weird.
That's a tough one.
It is.
So we'll take a break. I just thought to mention it because I'm still in shock. 9. We'll see you after the break. Stay with us.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Booking November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Decision point. The way your baby's presenting, we have to rush you in. And my partner at the time was like, "You going to cut her? Are you going to cut her? Is it going to leave a scar?" And I said, "Am I a belly dancer? What is the problem here?"
No, I'm vulnerable about the future of the children, the future of mine and the future of the generation of my children.
I want to have nude pictures taken. Of you? Yes,
Yeah,
but without showing my private parts. I want to put it in my front room. And they said, "You can't do that. People will be embarrassed when they came into your house." I said, "Well, it's my body and it's my front room."
All the things that we do, what is the purpose of it?
I just realized that I was more trusting before I was 6.
So many women, they just feel like I have to cook for my husband, I have to breastfeed my children, I have to pick them from school.
Because society expects
Then you
them
go
to.
home and you cry and you stop your career, you can't do anything, then you blame everybody. You took that choice.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, the electorate's disenchantment with governance at the local government level found expression in the voter apathy recorded in the recent local council polls in Lagos and Ogun State. Indeed, despite the efforts of the Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission, that's LASIEC, or whatever we call it, to ensure that the election materials and personnel got to the various ward early, Lagosians stayed away and polling booths were largely empty in many of the locations. For instance, at about 11:15 a.m., the Ladipo Odo Ward B2 Unit 055 was empty, and officials of the Lagos State INEC Commission said that one of the officials, Mrs. Olusile, confirmed that things were panning out really slowly. And we have been here, according to her, she said we've been here since morning and nobody came out to vote. So we're still praying that people would come out. That's according to her. And again, another location, I think Kolawole, Shonibare, that's collects the polling unit 007, Joseph. Said Guy Joseph told reporters from The Guardian that the turnout was not encouraging, adding that it was difficult convincing people to come out and cast their vote. So how can we have good governance if voters' apathy is still very, very prevalent? And I mean, this one was really obvious. I think if I'm looking for a word that is more deadly than apathy. All right, so that's the conversation tonight. Now, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join this conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. I'm going to bring in our guest like in a minute, but I just wanted to hear your thoughts. You know, do you see us coming out of this like anytime soon? Like where people would actually look forward to going out to vote? And I think, again, this thing is more in the southern region, or maybe western, whatever, because northerners actually vote.
Northerners vote because they actually believe in their representatives. We have come to the position where we do not believe in our representative because they haven't in any form or in any way represented our interests as we have perceived based on what has happened in the past. So I think that's also part of the reason why there's a lot of disenfranchisement from us, because we do not apathy based on the fact that we're not interested in going to vote because we feel that our votes will not even count.
The idea of believing in their leaders is what is laughable to me, because that is the part of the country with the worst governance as far as I'm concerned. When it comes to education, they are behind. Whatever it is that's a problem in Nigeria, they are in the front.
Due to their lack of education. That's, you know,
I don't know,
an ignorant mind actually believes in... Exactly, an ignorant mind can be fed anything. Yes.
The question you were asking, if we'll get there, I think we will. I mean, we just took a story about
That's
1 million people.
Elsie, 1 million in 200 million people. How?
Those are the ones that have not registered before. A step at a time. It's just 1 month. We are going to do this for the next 1 year, right? So if we get 1 million every month, it's something. And I think people, you know how Nigerians are. When it gets to the end, they start,
the rush hour.
You know. So I hope that they can take. But I think we'll get there. Just
you don't get my point. The concern that I have is that local government elections, people don't take it seriously.
I also think that is the idea of we know that the government is not really decentralized. So at the end of the day, people don't even think that local government, what do they call them? They're councillors.
Councillors.
That they can
do
count
anything.
You know, so
let me go to governor.
Everything starts from up to
That's
down.
a valid point. You know, that's a valid point. So let me bring in our guest. Yemi Amusan is the CEO of Lucia Limited, an event management consulting, referred to as a genius by many of his peers. Yemi is seen as a natural leader who is meticulous. I mean, he's also goal-driven and motivational. He has a keen eye for detail and honed instinct for strategy. Yemi often jokes that he is a production janitor. His services are in high demand, or his services are in high demand as an event producer, production manager, technical director, show director, or show caller. His detailed approach to work, high output performances, and dexterity in multitasking has seen him play pivotal roles in organizing and coordinating high-profile events and projects for many organizations and international brands. He is known for his creativity, attention to details, integrity, and precision. And he's joined in live with us in studio. Should I add my new personal friend? Hi, Doc. I should call you Doc because, I mean, I don't know why they put Yemi. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's such an amazing honor to have you here with us.
It is.
So, you know, you heard our little banter on the conversation around the elections. I mean, Saturday, I just woke up early in the morning, carried myself, bam, I drove out of Lagos because a lot of us, we do not take these kinds of elections seriously. So maybe before we even go into why, how important is it for you to elect someone at that level, the local council level? Why is it important to elect?
I would say that it is probably the most important election that we should be involved in, because that's the election that determines what happens in our environment, exactly where we live. I feel that the outcome or lack thereof of the election over the weekend is sort of symbolic of what's happening around the country, and it's in many ways it's a spotlight on the issues that we have and the things that we need to resolve going forward if we're going to have the sort of country that we want. I think when we look at election and election cycles, we can't really talk about elections without talking about governance and what makes good governance and why it sort of dovetails into each other. And I think when we look at Nigeria as a country, as a nation, it's such a complex ball of issues that there's no simple answer or one-step solution to solve everything. So on one hand, we have our constitution, which some would argue is not fit for purpose. That's sort of like the guiding document around which our government is formed, the operating system, so to speak. And then you have the political system, and more importantly, the culture of our political system and the way we run politics, which is a dog-eat-dog, win at all cost, no price is too high to pay. And then you have the players, the individuals. And so you can't fix, some people have said, oh, the system is bad, we need to change the system. That is true. But if you change the system and you don't change the culture, does anything really change? Or if you change the system and you try to change the culture, but you don't change the actors, and there are a lot of bad actors in our polity. And so what has happened over time is that Nigerians have seen one cycle after another. Every time there's a hope, maybe things will be different, then the elections take place, one thing or the other takes place, and it's almost as if we're living the same day every single year, and it's been like that for the last 50 or 60 years. So when we talk about apathy, you have a feeling that nothing I do is going to change anything.
So just stay away.
Clearly, we know our issues are multifaceted, like we've had that conversation over and over again. Where can we start from, or how do we start? Because we need people to understand how important voting is, especially at this level we're talking about, right? If you know your I think your councillor is one of the levels in the government that you can at least know him one-on-one and have a conversation with him, and then you can believe that what you're saying is being heard. That's
everything around your community is supposed
how do we correct it?
So I think the first thing that needs to happen is education. There needs to be a lot of education in terms of how politics works. A case in point is, when the election cycle, when the election year comes, and there's such an emphasis on executive power.
That's
on
it. Or
the
the
governor, the president, the governor, the president. And there's always this belief that if we can vote the right person in, everything's going to change. But politics doesn't work like that, because our government is made up of 3 co-equal branches, and each one is dependent on the other. Now, if people don't understand this, then beginning to explain to them that it is more important for you to have a counselor who understands what you need than to have a president who you're probably never going to see during the tenure.
Yeah.
That education needs to take place. So there needs to be a lot of mobilization on community levels to educate people. Now, when we talk about the education of people, you find that there are 2 types of Nigerians, the haves and the have-nots. And the objectives, or what's important to each, is very different. We saw during the NSAS riot, where we had a lot of middle-class, affluent, educated young Nigerians come out, rightly so, to protest and to make their demands known. And then we had another group of Nigerians, young, same age group, with a totally different objective. For them, this was an opportunity to get some of what they don't have. So looting, damage. And of course, in and amongst that, you have rumors of political interplay where people are cajoled or given, means to, or some money to go and cause problems. But you find that these are two totally different objectives. They have different things in mind. One person wants to, let's see if we can change the government. Another person is, can I get something to eat today? That is, that's education that has to be taken on two different levels.
Okay, so you talked about the political system.
Sorry, I have a follow-up, sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
So when we talk about this, we always say people need to be educated, right?
Whose responsibility is it?
Thank you.
I was going to ask that.
Whose responsibility is it? I don't know. Whose responsibility?
So in good governance, one of the pillars, I will say, of good governance is inclusion. Another one is, consensus. Now, ideally, it should be the government's responsibility. But I think you and I both know that waiting for the government to come and save us, we will all be old and gray, and that ship won't come. So the reality is we have to take up the responsibility ourselves. There are a lot of, NGOs that are already trying to do that. They need a lot of support. Then in conversations, it needs to be something that we talk about, whether we're at the salon or in the supermarket or at work, on the commute, whatever it is, find opportunities and talk, because you'll be surprised at how little people actually understand about how the government works. Most people don't know the different, the local government, you'll be surprised that people don't know what the councillor's job description actually is. A lot of people don't know what a senator's job description is. A lot of us don't know what a House of Reps job description is. So there's so much illiteracy and ignorance when it comes to how governance works that it's very easy for us to be exploited.
Okay, so if I may step in there, you've talked about the political system, and you've talked about the fact that people are ignorant and they're not aware of things. So what's the role of the political parties in enhancing or harnessing the voters' participation?
So you would think that the political party, it would be of interest to them to make sure that there is a lot of education, a lot of voter mobilization. But in the case of the way our politics runs, it's actually a scenario that works for them, because the fewer people who actually come out to vote, the greater the opportunity for you to influence the few that do vote, so that they work for you. I mean, if you think that only 35% of the number of registered voters voted in the last election, and of that, the president won with 18% of the votes. So if you think that 18% of eligible voters elected the president, then you understand where the problem is. Because this is not a question of majority consensus, it's more of minority consensus. And that is part of the illusion that gives people the impression that the game is rigged. It's not so much that it is rigged, it's that it is skewed to favor those already in power. And so the people who are not, who don't see the change, were sort of caught up in a self-fulfilling prophecy. Nothing is going to change because they don't think there's any point in getting involved, and therefore they don't, and therefore things don't change.
Absolutely. You know what? We're going to take a break. Let's go and drink some water. So if you just tuned in, we are having an amazing chat with Yemi Amusan on voters' apathy and good governance. Now, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-8038-4663. You know why I said I want to go and drink water? Because this question is just, I was just chuckling when she was asking the question. The whole idea
they should be aware.
People need to be, no, you don't get it. You are saying political parties want it to be exactly where it is, because that's the only way they can manipulate the system.
Yes.
Right? So, but I want to take us back to, I mean, Elsie's story about registration and people getting, what's it called? I mean, you were applauding them, 1 million voters.
A million registrations.
A million people have registered for how many months now?
1 month.
1 month now.
3% are youths.
Okay. I know, I like the percentage. That's not a problem. So I'm looking at, if we say this is 2021, we're in July, what happens between now and, you know, can we even mop up at least 50%? Because you said 35% of people, right, voted. Can we mop up 50% between now and, what's it called, come 2023, that people would have at least 50% of our population ready to go to the polls?
Okay, so talking about, you know, they say it's the diligence of the quack. You find that many times the person who is least qualified is most energized when it comes to trying to get something done. Now, one of the challenges that affects the voter apathy is accessibility, and the ease of the process. So when you consider a system where to go and vote, in fact, let's even move beyond voting. Let's go, before we get to voting, to register to vote and to get the accreditation and the credentials, you need to be determined above and beyond what you would normally have to do to make a living. So it means sometimes you have to put aside your day job and make this your full-time mission until you can get it done. And even at that, sometimes you don't get it done. Why? Because most times these registration stations are manned by underpaid, ill-trained, inexperienced people who can't help you if something goes wrong. So sometimes even the process of data capture, you find that after the fact, they realize, oh, they didn't capture your data properly, so they don't have enough to identify you to move you to the next stage of validation. So there's a myriad of issues that need to be resolved, and this is something that the INEC needs to work assiduously on addressing, the ease of voting. Now, good or bad as it may sound, this is not just a Nigerian problem. We find around the world it is an issue that people are coming face to face with. Now, this brings us to, is there enough political will to ensure that voting is made easier? Because we see one of the big stories in America right now is the fact that it seems as if, you know, the ease of voting, they're trying to pull back on it a little bit. Because a politician's worst nightmare is that a new avalanche of registered voters are going to enter the system whose votes he doesn't know which way are going to swing.
Like when the mail started coming in the US elections, everybody that monitored it, when the people that did their votings via mail or the ones that voted ahead of time and all of that, I mean, it threw the former president off balance because they don't want that, you know.
So that's part of, if you say, the game of politics, being able to control the electorate so that you still have a modicum of control over the outcome. So it ideally should be a responsibility of, you know, the parties. You would think that they would, you know, outside of election season, they would still go about. But the way politics plays, that is sort of, it's counterintuitive to do that, as much as you would think more votes means a fairer election.
They don't want it.
Nobody really wants a fair election. They want an election that they will win.
Members alone will vote on that day.
So, do you think that there is ever going to be a free and fair election in Nigeria?
Here's what I believe, and honestly, I think it is inevitable that things are going to change. Things will, the minority can only keep the majority down for so long. Something's going to give. What I do not know is what will happen between now and then. Because with each cycle, it's like the stakes are higher. People are more determined to either stay in power or to push them out of power. But something has to give. It is an unsustainable cycle that things will continue this way. We're seeing a new generation of people come up. You could call them naive with the End SARS movement, but as they become wiser, they have tools that they understand that they are using at their disposal, and those are our children. And you'll find that a generation that asks for forgiveness rather than permission is always going to be a wild card in an election when they're determined that enough is enough.
Is enough. I know you work with young people who are giving up on Nigeria to give them hope again, right? What is that process like, and what more can we do to bring back hope? Because I think a lot of people, like too many people, have lost hope in Nigeria, and you can't blame them. But they are too much and too many, and any opportunity to leave this country, they will take it. So what can be done, and what is that process like?
So there are two kinds of, I work with a lot of graduates, people, undergraduates and graduates. We have internship programs, we have training programs, and sometimes just to put a production together, you need a lot of volunteer workers. So you get to see them. You get to see the energy, you get to see the innovation, you get to see the hope that Nigeria has. But then when you engage them in conversation, you hear the, well, we don't think, looking for an opportunity to travel, to get out of the country. I have one friend who was telling me that most of his colleagues have already relocated. And so he's been keeping himself busy during the lockdown, selling the things that they left behind as a means of, and getting a cut. That's how he's, been getting through. And then on the other hand, we have a lot of, casual laborers, people who didn't get the opportunity to go to school, but have skills that you can either train or they're learning on the job. And you find out that their outlook is even bleaker because they have lost faith in humanity. And so the best thing you can do for them is to remind them that they are good people. Because you find that they don't trust people, so whatever they can get in the moment, they're willing to grab it with both hands and they walk away, because as far as they're concerned, tomorrow is not promised to anybody. So talking about a better tomorrow and the nice bedtime stories we like to tell ourselves is wasted on them. What they need is kindness. They need to know that people care about them, and that they can be trusted to do little things. So that their faith in leadership figures is restored. That takes time, that takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of energy, and it takes a lot of commitment.
I'm glad he talked about the role of...
I just wanted to add a bit, Isi, I'll come to you. Poverty, right? Because what I saw with the young people that were manipulated to go loot and all of that. I mean, there's also a role of poverty in all of these things where, I mean, we saw a video of one of our broadcasters here who did a video capturing her polling unit, and somebody collected 1,000 naira just to go and vote. So this still remains the tool that the politicians also use, to keep this voter apathy, to keep people, disenfranchised and all of that. Is still poverty, because they know that come election day, they'll tell you, for governorship is about 5K. This one is local council is 1K. So this is still a big tool. So how do we even help to bring more people out of poverty? So what can entrepreneurs do? What do we do? Because if I am comfortable, if I am not hungry, there's every likelihood that you might not manipulate where I will sway my votes to.
So conspiracy theorists will suggest that it is in the interest of the kingmakers, let me use that, to keep the status quo as it is, because you have a ready army that you can pay for pennies to fight on your behalf. So political will is one aspect, and the way politics runs is that as soon as a party gets into power, immediately it's about winning the next election, staying in power. And so it is, again, it doesn't pay them to empower people enough to be able to work and live without them. So as much as one would say government needs to begin to invest in sustainable ways to lift up the population, the way the system or the culture of politics as it currently runs suggests that this is not likely to happen anytime soon.
And so that's why I didn't go government too. So
yes.
what can entrepreneurs? Yeah.
Entrepreneurs need to be willing to embark on a lot more community-driven programs that actually empower people, skills acquisitions, and then it's not just enough to give them the skills, give them the opportunities and the means to start doing things. What I always tell people when I meet them is that you need to be able to think beyond doing this. And that means you need to get more information, you get more training, you need to get more knowledge, and you need to expand your skills. You'll be surprised at what you can achieve. Do. We're a very kinetically driven society. Culturally, our motor skills develop, long before any other thing. And so you find that we're very good with our hands. So things that we can use our hands to do, things that, require native intelligence or street gumption. Those are things that we are very quick and we can easily adapt to. So reintroducing trade skills and opportunities with, whether it's in the supermarket or it's in the event space. I'm a big proponent that the event industry or the production or the entertainment industry is a huge employer of persons and a huge trainer in skills. So wherever we have an event, the objective is to try and get as much of the local community to get involved as well. You'll be surprised at who develops a spark or an interest in this line of work. And because we have such a huge population of young people, we have an endless amount of material, raw material, that can be processed and do something great, which also gives back to the economy. So entrepreneurs, business owners need to start thinking seriously about investing in their communities and the communities around them.
Absolutely. Isi,
okay, I was actually going to ask him about the role of the political elite, and he has actually answered that. And in fact, now we know that the political elite would rather keep us,
okay,
down.
So we have a comment.
But
let's take a comment from
I was going to ask
Adi.
another question,
Yeah.
but okay. So based on this, now we know that this is what is going to happen, and the kingmakers are keeping us down. How do we now help ourselves to stay, to be aware of what the government is up to, or what the political parties are up to? Is it possible? How do we help ourselves? Okay. Because I didn't even know that there was supposed to be an election until they said there was curfew.
So that I would say, first of all, strategically and cautiously and wisely. And I say that because the indications are that current government structure does not entertain criticism very well. And so there's no point in making a lot of noise and going to jail and not being able to change anything. We need to be we need to be very strategic. And strategy is important, because as much as it seems that the political game is rigged, it's actually a game of numbers. And if we were to say those people that want a good Nigeria, you would easily say that they far outnumber those who are happy for the country to stay as the way it is. So the numbers are on our side. The challenge is information, knowledge, and just an understanding of how to work the strategy. The awareness of how the elections work and when the elections are coming. People who write blogs, who are onto social media, it's important to start broadcasting these things, because if we had started saying, okay, somebody writes a blog and say, okay, these are the people running for councillor in your region, let's get to know them. Bring them on to
and bloggers
shows.
Want to be paid first now before they do
so that those are the challenges, because we are currently in an acute, never-ending season of I need to get paid first. And that's part of the system we live in. Each person is looking for number one.
What will benefit me?
It's a bit like in traffic. You're in traffic and you're wondering, there's a little, maybe a pothole or a traffic light, and then suddenly a car drives beside you, driving one way. And you know that sooner than later, 10 cars are going to drive, and everybody's going to be delayed.
Locked.
It's going to be gridlocked. But these people do it because they feel that, well, I can get away with it. It'll be fine if I can do it. And then we find that happens in the community. Now, that's something that we have to change. It has to be part of our conversation. It has to be part of our commitment. And we need to start realizing that only we can change the status quo by making sure there are enough numbers pulling in the same direction.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, when if you look at the election on the surface and you feel that, it was a dead heat almost between the current president and Atiku, and it's like some people will say, but they're both the same. That doesn't tell the entire story, because that was just 35% of the electorate. So what happened to the remaining 65%? So if the remaining 65% had come out, perhaps we would be saying something different at this point. So that's what needs to happen. And that's where people who run these NGOs, those are the numbers they're looking at.
I think what we can do is also find, because I know that there are funds available for these things. Because the truth is, I mean, journalism is very, very poorly, they have poor remuneration, you know, so it's actually tough for people to actually go out of their way to say, you know what, they want to start doing reports, this investigative journalism and all of that. But imagine if there's a body that says, you know what, if you know you can do the work, we can fund it. At least it would help, you know. I'm just saying that now, let's channel our funds to the right direction.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think we have a comment here.
This comment is from Ade. He says, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Saturday's local government election was a shambolic. Both Lagos and Ogun states had their election same day and came out with similar results. A particular party controlled the two states within their borders and claimed all the available seats within the local government. This plan is politically motivated to destroy people's franchise. It recorded low turnout with the particular political party thugs scaring voters away to their own advantage. Fingers crossed, because the other political party has watched this strategy and will do same in their control states within the borders. Thank you for that comment. I have a question.
Did he mention the party?
He did, though. Is it my mouth that you
Why you not doing that party? Quickly, we have like a minute to go.
Okay, so I just want to ask, I mean, the last media chat, our president, maybe it's the only one in the longest of time we had a few weeks ago. The conversation with the journalists, you heard them talking about his ambition for his political party as well, right? So is there a way for us to separate that ambition of political parties from that of governance? Is that ever going to happen?
That's part of the culture that I was talking about earlier on, because ideally you have political parties that are set up with a set of ideals that push towards something with an ideology. But what we don't have that. What we have are political platforms and stages that people exploit for their personal benefit and agenda. So vested interests become what is traded back and forth on these platforms. And until that changes, no, the president is always going to be beholden to the party that put him there. However, that's not the way democracy is supposed to run. And so if we can, A, look at the Constitution again with proper reform, B, look at the culture and start changing that, and then C, look at the players on the pitch. God willing, things will get better.
I was waiting for that God. How you did it? I was waiting for that God. But thank you so much, Yemi. You know what? We're going to bring you back because I really love the way you're breaking it down. And honestly speaking, I believe that it's possible. I'm not totally pessimistic about this. I'm actually very optimistic about the future of our country. I just want that because a lot of us, we have, I mean, when they were throwing billions in there, we've not recovered from the billions we saw in Oba. You know, if you have the funds, channel the funds right.
Yes.
Because when we have more people that are aware of these things, trust me, the game will change.
Absolutely.
That was the fear they had when they saw the NSAS.
Absolutely. It's knowledge.
It was the awareness, the awakening that made them afraid. Yeah. You know, and they started doing all the things that they did. Yes, they'd never believed that it was possible.
And that is a sign. It's a sign of the inevitable.
Yes,
which it's inevitable.
Absolutely.
Things are going to
change.
What needs to happen is that the haves and the have-nots, to crudely put it like that, need to come together on the same page in terms of this is what is best for our community.
Yes.
And it means breaking it down in a language that they can understand. And appreciate.
All right. Thank you so much again. Thank you, Elsie. Thank you, Issy.
Thank you.
So before we go, it's Lawal's birthday today. So happy birthday, Lawal. Our cameraman. So bad. All right, so do ensure you follow us on Instagram. It's at PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and most importantly, we're planning a huge giveaway to say thank you to you for believing in the Ways brand and following the conversation. So do well to follow us on Instagram. It's at Wayshow. Follow us now. Like, share, comment, and invite your friends and family to watch and follow us as well. So if you missed today's quote, it's a very interesting quote. Here it is again. People often say that in a democracy, decisions are made by a majority of the people. Of course, that is not true. Decisions are made by a majority of those who make themselves heard and who vote. It's very simple. We'll see you guys tomorrow as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. Welcome to your favorite program, The Moment of Truth, brought to you by the Citadel Global Community Church. Our God is a God of salvation, far above all principality and power and might and dominion, that regardless of what happens in this season, you will escape. Say to your neighbor, there is no peace for the wicked. The lazy man does not roast what he took in hunting, but diligence is a man's precious possession. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might.
Moment of Truth with Pastor Tunde Bakare, Sundays, 7 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.